trying to get him
Wow.
to shoot it. And no.
I want to invite some questions from our audience. Yes, sir, right up there, yes.
Whatever happened to Sarah Kennedy? Is she doing any work?
What happened to Sarah Kennedy?
We were told that she's living out west writing children's books.
I saw her out here in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah. I don't know what happened to her.
Well, you can look her up on IMDb. She's actually did a lot of TV work after this.
She kind of predates Goldie Hawn.
A little bit. Actually, she was. No, it doesn't predate her, but she was on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In for the last 3 years of it because Goldie Hawn had left, and she fulfilled the voice of the Cupid Blonde, you know. And she did a lot of different sort of Norman Lear comedies and stuff like that up through the 70s and so on. And she seems to be still thriving out there somewhere, but that's the sense you get.
Disappeared.
Mm-hmm. She should have a major career. I mean, it's just a tremendous presence.
I think so, yes.
Anybody? Let's see. Any other questions?
Yes. On hindsight, do you think you may have been maybe 5 or 6 years ahead of your time, and that phone sex would become a multi-million, well, maybe almost $1 billion industry? Because underneath in society, there were all these people who were ready to have phone sex. I know my accountant had a client, a girl, and she just some little message on the telephone. She could call up and hear this little 30-second spot, and she was taking in $50,000 a month.
How much?
50 grand a month.
50 grand.
Well, you're looking at the new big man then.
Like 1976, 1977, when phone sex exploded. So you guys were kind of like 5 or 6 years ahead of your time.
What do you, yeah, let's address that just in terms of where the audience was, and I'd like to direct this to Merv, just because of the, as we pointed out before you came out, Nelson, there was the following year was Deep Throat, and after that, Beyond the Green Door, and basically the sense of X-rated just was different perception than it was here. And what was the audience's reaction, the critics' reaction, huh?
This wasn't an X-rated film until we did the cartoon, to the animation.
Mm.
I mean, this would have been an R-rated film, even then.
Okay, so it was an actual tactical decision to go for the X at that point, or?
Well, I mean, it was too good to abandon.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like we didn't care at that point. We didn't care. Fuck them.
Len?
When I came to LA in '77, I called up Rob Bacci, and he said, "You made that film. I want to see it." And I said, "Okay." So I had the last reel of the film on me, and I brought it over to his studio, threaded it up on his moviola, flipped the thing on, and he turned the moviola off. He says, "Oh yeah, I know that," because he doesn't like the idea that was the first X-rated cartoon.
Did you mention Steve Martin?
Oh, yeah. We haven't mentioned Steve Martin yet, but he says it's his favorite film of the 70s.
Well, I had the opportunity of meeting him a few years ago, and he was in my apartment, and he looked, and in my library there's a poster with a telephone book, and he said, "What did you have to do with that?" And I said, "Well, I produced the film." He said, "You did?" He said, "That was one of my favorite films of the 70s." And I said, "Really?" "And would you sign that?" And he really, he said it, and my wife was witness to that, and I was very flattered,
Yeah. I wonder, I'm curious about that because, as the gentleman was saying, a couple of years later, certain things were more accepted, but also it strikes me that Woody Allen may have run up against some of the same things you guys did when he did his everything everyone wants to know, everything you ever want to know about sex, because there were certain skits in there that flew in the face of, popular will. People were very uncomfortable with some of the stuff he was dealing with. There's only, the final sketch that kind of really made that film a hit. And my question is about dealing with sex and dealing with, because you were dealing with real things, real fantasies that maybe people were embarrassed by in the first wave of your audience.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of reactions were people confiding to you or shouting at you when they saw the film?
I remember Elaine May really hated it. She went to the screen. Remember that?
Oh, she loved the movie.
No, she hated the cartoon.
Oh, she hated the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hated the cartoon. I felt so sorry.
I don't think her husband liked it.
You mentioned that people were walking out.
Yeah.
Oh, there were things, for example, that still, really made me wince. After the fact of having made the film, okay, I gotcha. With that attitude.
Right.
I figured, geez, what's, am I loco in the cocoa? Is there something the matter? Yes, there was. But she loved she loved the movie. We had a big talk about which one of the phone callers was like the best phone caller, the best written piece, and then I took one person I wanted to meet was Groucho Marx. And this ties into Woody Allen because Groucho Marx's sense of comedy is not a comedy, which is what you see there, as we said. I want to meet Groucho Marx. I want to meet a few people, but him I wanted to meet. This is before he went, a little wobbly. So he and Ern Fleming was taking care of him at that time. And at this time, I understand Steve Stoliar may be in the audience. Wrote a terrific book called Raised Eyebrows, which is a remarkable revelation of Groucho's last years. He was Groucho's amanuensis. But at any rate, to get back to Groucho and the telephone book, we meet at Musso's. Usher Groucho in. The film was doing business, and it was at least half to two-thirds full during a weekday. And they're laughing like it's a comedy. We were told by Alexander Walker, this is a comedy.
Right.
And they're laughing and being not aware of the malice. And I was sitting right behind Groucho. Sneaky. And Groucho didn't laugh once. Except at one point, didn't say a word, just looked at the movie. And then when Dolph Sweet, who plays one of the obscene phone callers, the guy with the pipe, says, my mother never let me smell her pants. Groucho turned to Ern Fleming and said, what did he say? And Ern Fleming said, my mother never let me smell her pants. Oh. And he went back to watching the movie. And his idea of comedy is Woody Allen's idea of comedy. Comedy is comedy.
Right.
Comedy doesn't go this way.
There was a question way in the back. The fellow with his hand up, very patient. Thanks.
I just want to thank you. Watching your movie, I think it's a work of genius, frankly, because it has a totally stream of consciousness. You don't know where it's going next. It's totally moment-to-moment creative. I think you're underestimating the...
I'm shy.
extraordinary creation.
There's a
Thank
question.
you so much.
That was my son.
The gentleman.
Do I know you? Have you been paid? I thank you so much, sincerely.
Okay, there's a question right there again. Yes.
Hold on with your telephone speaker is telling his life story. Reminded me of Ken Nordine, word jazz. Was that?
Excuse me, reminded you of who?
Remember Ken Nordine? He did that series of records called Word Jazz.
Ken Nordine.
Oh, yes, sure. The guy who talked like low and